How's it going, everyone? Michael Martin here from Yahoo Esports. I am recording a special I Got Next because last night, as of this recording, a huge leak with the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite roster was dropped on NeoGAF by NeoGAF user Rice, who has leaked information before, and to be fair, has been accurate on some stuff. But the reason I want to do this video is obviously we want to talk about the roster. That's all a lot of people want to talk about when it comes to Infinite because, hey, I mean, we're what? Just a few months away, about 4 months away from that game releasing, and actually just a couple weeks away from getting our first hands-on at E3 and CEO. Let me start off by saying that I'm going to run down this list in a second, but I want to say I have been told information that is actually right in line with this list. So my gut feeling is, if you're asking me for how accurate I think this information is, I would be willing to say that it's probably somewhere in the 80-90% range. Obviously nothing's finalized, but we're getting close, and this looks pretty legit. So let me run down this list real quick in case you haven't seen it. On the Capcom side, now keep in mind, this is, I believe it was 27 characters leaked, plus one DLC character, so we're potentially looking at a missing character here on this roster. But Capcom, Arthur, Chris Redfield, Chun-Li, Dante, Firebrand, Jada, Monster Hunter, Morrigan, Nemesis, Ryu, Spencer, Strider Hiryu, and Mega Man X. Running down the Marvel side, AntMan, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Gamora, Hawkeye, Hulk, Iron Man, Nova, Rocket and Groot. This is interesting because they think it might be one character. We've seen a video of Rocket and Groot in a super together, similar to what Hawkeye and Ant-Man were, who are now separate characters, by the way, in this list. But it appears that Rocket Groot might be one character. Continuing on, Spider-Man, Thanos, Thor, and Ultron. Capcom side apparently is missing a character because there should be 28 for the opening day roster, and it looks like it might be Frank West. That would make sense because Dead Rising is still fairly current as a series, so we'll talk on that in a second. Also, that DLC character that appears to be leaked is Venom, so a little surprising that Venom is not on the main roster but is DLC. So a reminder that the first season DLC will be 6 characters. We know Sigma is confirmed in that DLC. Venom's the leaked character. 28 characters base. Frank West on the Capcom side would make it 28 total. This list is currently 27. Let's talk about surprises. I'm a little surprised at the amount of new characters, which is to say that there aren't many. Capcom's probably playing it safe by appealing to what people are used to, or appealing to the players who their characters will carry over from previous games. Some characters are coming back from, and we haven't seen them in a while, like Thanos as an example. But on the Capcom side, we have Jada, Monster Hunter, Mega Man X, and Sigma. Sigma we've seen, Mega Man X we've seen. I'm putting Mega Man X in this list of new characters because technically we haven't had a Mega Man X, right? We've had Mega Man and Zero, but Monster Hunter, no-brainer, right? Monster Hunter is a huge series. I do feel like Capcom would like this game to appeal internationally. I don't know if that translates with Monster Hunter, but it's a huge game, so it makes sense this character's in here. Jada is interesting to me. I used to play Jada a little bit in Vampire Savior. Jada wouldn't have been my first pick from that series. But I'm curious because I love the way Jada, you know, actually I love the way a lot of characters look in Vampire Hunter, Vampire Savior, that series, Darkstalkers, as a lot of us may know it as. They look great, they're interesting, but yeah. So I mean, I'm fine with Jada. I'm a little surprised that Asura is not included in this roster. Now, going back to what I said about, hey, this is tied. A lot of these characters are tied to current games, current series. When it comes to Marvel, current games and or movies or cinematic universe, whatever. I thought for sure Asura might make the cut, and he could still in DLC. If you don't recall, Asura was in Asura's Wrath. I love the character design in Asura's Wrath, so I think it just seems natural for a game like this. In fact, there was DLC where Street Fighter characters were added to Asura's Wrath, where you could where he could fight them. So I mean, it just seems like a natural fit. So maybe DLC. I'm not too upset that he's not included. Although on the Capcom side, I will say, other than Jada, I'm not super enamored with that side of the roster. I actually think I like a lot more of the Marvel characters. So speaking of Marvel, new characters include Ant-Man, Gamora, Captain Marvel, Ultron. We've seen Captain Marvel and Ultron. I guess if I picked a team right now, the ones that intrigue me the most are probably Captain Marvel and Jada. Gamora obviously is Guardians of the Galaxy with Rocket and Groot. That makes sense. Ant-Man is a character who we've seen. He has a movie, and he was previously just in, Hawkeye Super. So this Marvel roster is fine. Like I don't have anything for or against it. Mostly, other than, again, there's a lack of new characters. There's a lack of Fantastic Four and X-Men characters. We pretty much knew that going in. Marvel's been in a tiff with Fox about those characters, and Fantastic Four and X-Men characters haven't appeared in a lot of games, a lot of Marvel games in recent years. So while I would love to see the Wolverines, Magnetos, Doctor Dooms, and Storms back in the game. Actually, Akuma's not in on the Street or Capcom side. But I mean, I would love to see those characters in. I do believe at some point they will make it in as DLC. Two things stand out to me on the Marvel side. I would have put money on Black Panther being on the roster. I was sure of it, and he's not. So that surprises me. You figured maybe he's the new Wolverine in the roster. I don't know. I'm also surprised that there's no Luke Cage. There actually isn't a Luke Cage, Daredevil, or Iron Fist. Iron Fist was in the last game, but they don't appear to be, I guess, representing the Netflix TV series, which is fine. I don't necessarily want those characters shoehorned in just because that series is popular or current. However, I think it speaks to another issue that, and brace yourselves. I know a lot of you are probably going to groan about this, but it speaks to a little bit of a lack, or actually a lack of representation, ethnicity-wise, diversity-wise in this game. There's only a handful of female characters, but yeah, no Black Panther, no Luke Cage. I'm a little disappointed in just not having characters like that can appeal to more players. Look, I don't want this game to have token type characters and check the boxes on the list of like, hey, we've got diverse characters, we've got women's, we've got African American, we've got Asian. Look, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there are characters that legitimately appeal to a lot of people, and I just think including those character designs would have been awesome. Other than that, I don't really have any huge issues with this roster. I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks. Maybe Frank West is that last Capcom character, who knows. It's kind of cool to see Venom coming back. Enough about what I think. Let me know what you think. How do you feel about this roster? Is it good? Is it bad? Do you like the Capcom side? Who's missing? Who would you have put in there? Do you like the Marvel side? Who's missing? Who would you put in there? At some point, we're going to see some DLC. Who do you think is coming as DLC? Let me know in the comments, and of course, hit me up on Twitter at Bizarro_Mike, 1Z, 2Rs. Tell me if you like this roster, tell me who you're going to play. Don't forget, we'll get to see this game in its playable form for the first time at E3 and CEO. That takes place in the same week, by the way. I'm flying straight from E3. I'm going to E3 for 2 days. I'm flying straight from LA to Florida to cover CEO. So be sure to check out Yahoo Esports for our Marvel Capcom Infinite coverage. But yeah, let me know what you think, and let me know what you think about the gameplay once we get to see it. Once we get to see some of these characters running. Looking forward to it. Talk to you guys soon.